And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Women of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I am so fired up today to come to you and share some thoughts around an amazing video that Anna Psychology just released a few days ago. It's called The 3 Things You Need to Stay in the Honeymoon Phase Forever. Okay, now actually 2 people sent this one to me, and I was like, to the second one, I was like, I've already watched it. And he's like, awesome, you know, make a reaction. And I was like, let's do it. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm fired up about doing it. I've already seen it, but, you know, you guys will still see some reactions as well. The response, though, however, is going to be absolutely awesome. Let's get started.
Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Anna. I'm a clinical psychology doctorate student, and I make videos about real-life applications to psychology. In this video, we're going to talk about how to keep a relationship in the honeymoon phase forever. And first of all, I know some of you guys, based on the title, are going to be running to the comments saying, this is propaganda, this is not possible, you cannot keep a relationship in the honeymoon phase forever. I agree, and I disagree.
Cool, okay? This is awesome. This is the only channel you'll see on all of YouTube, okay, who explains how it's actually possible. She's gonna do her best with this video, but it's not gonna measure up to what we share on this channel. I can promise you that. For those that have been on this channel for a while, who understands female nature, and who understands the things that we share, oh my gosh, you'll understand that the honeymoon phase actually scientifically can be put in place to stay forever. But people don't know about it. So welcome to this channel. Make sure you subscribe and like, and let's keep going. I like how she disagrees, though, because this is cool.
I think that it's impossible to stay in certain aspects of the honeymoon phase with someone after years and years, like the idealization aspect of it, but you can draw out the honeymoon phase for much longer than average, which is about 6 months, and you can.
So people say it's impossible to keep the honeymoon phase. She says, yes, the idealization thing, that's impossible. I say, no, that's possible. Not only is it possible, but it is crucial. It is intensely important for life satisfaction that you're able to have that honeymoon phase forever. And I'm going to explain why in this video. She keeps going.
And maintain certain aspects of the honeymoon phase forever. And no, you're not going to accomplish that if you don't even try. But if you do try your hardest and you really work at keeping this relationship fresh and passionate and happy forever, then your chances are you can probably incorporate aspects of the honeymoon phase well into your relationship. And
so I really love what she's saying here, that it is possible to incorporate some of the honeymoon phase, make it last longer, and then keep some of that thing alive throughout the relationship, you know, for years to come. She's going to give her ideas, and I love this. I love this topic. I hope you can see that on my face.
You know, even if it's not quote-unquote the honeymoon phase, even 5 years later, you can still maximize the happiness of your long-term relationship. So I think before we go into how exactly do we keep a relationship in the honeymoon phase, we have to talk about characteristics of the honeymoon phase. What is realistic for us to keep forever, and what should we probably accept is going to disappear? I think a really important component is idealization of your partner. This is when you're in the early stages of the relationship, and they can do no wrong, they have no negative qualities, nothing unattractive about them. They're perfect human and perfect for you. This is something that helps 2 people bond in those early stages of a relationship and build a strong foundation that will last them for years. It's not realistic and not necessarily healthy that you will keep this outlook forever.
What if you could keep this outlook forever? Now, people are going to say, oh, but it's impossible because no one is perfect and there's flaws with everyone, so this can't be possible, Joe. Yes, it is possible. Okay, you just have to know how to have that idealization renewed on a daily basis. But the problem is that most men suck, okay? Most men are horrible when it comes to a long-term relationship because they don't understand female nature. However, if they do understand it and they're trustworthy, okay, if the guy is trustworthy, this is crucial. Because you don't want to be in the idealization phase forever if the guy sucks, right? Because he's going to screw you over. if you idealize someone who's not trustworthy, what's gonna happen to you eventually? You're gonna get screwed over. Like, it's bad things are gonna happen. He's gonna leave you, or he could cheat on you, or he could do this, that, and the other, or he could get fired from his job and get depressed for 5 years. You don't know. So you need to know that he's trustworthy. Do you understand what I mean? As long as that is in place, and that is 100% sure, which is predictable, by the way, okay, if he applies the correct principles long before he starts this relationship. He needs to have a track record of trust, a track record of loyalty, in order for the idealization part to be renewed every single day for the rest of yours and his life. And this is crucial, but she says, no, it's not possible, and I agree with everyone else who says that this is not possible. We say it's possible, and you can have it, and it's available for anyone who applies the principles. It works for everyone that wants to work it, so let's keep going.
It might make it difficult for you to set boundaries or to acknowledge that what they're doing sometimes is wrong, or it may swing to devaluation, because we tend to, when we idealize someone, swing to the completely opposite side where they hold no value when they do something wrong. And honestly, it's a little bit delusional when we think that our partner is completely perfect human. And that's okay. I'm not saying delusional in a bad way. Like I said, it serves a function, but if it lasts too long, that could potentially be a problem.
So is it a problem? Like, are you a bit delusional? Because he's not perfect, right? But the only thing you need is for you to believe that he's perfect. He doesn't have to be perfect for this to work. You just need to believe that he's perfect. Or, in other words, your in-love aura needs to be stronger than his flaws. Does that make sense? Like, if we have I don't like calling it a potion, but in many ways, that's what these principles are. If you apply the principles that we teach on this channel, then it will work so that you are in love all of the time, you desire him all of the time, and he seems perfect, and yet he's not. Okay? So, because it wouldn't work. Like, it would be delusional if I was to tell you that of course he's perfect, you know. No, it doesn't work like that. Obviously, he's not going to be perfect. This life is a journey of developing and growing and learning and becoming. So on this journey, there's going to be tons of failures, tons of mess-ups, and tons of everything. But there are some certain things that he can prepare for in advance of that relationship even starting. Just to mention a few things so that you guys know what I'm talking about. Voluntary celibacy. That's crucial for a guy to know. For you to know that he's trustworthy and loyal, he needs to have a track record of voluntary celibacy where he chose to sleep with no one. Just as a manhood test for himself. That even though he has a massive sexual drive, he chose not to sleep around because he knew how destructive it was for women. That's amazing. If you can find a guy like that, oh my gosh, that's something special right there. But I'm just giving you an example of what a man could be preparing with in order for him to be as perfect as possible, and yet he'll still have flaws, but there's things he can do in advance to prepare himself. Also getting a lot of money. Okay? Like, to get into a relationship and still be poor is unacceptable. A man should have a strong financial foundation before he even thinks about being together with women. So, if he had those two things in place, oh my gosh, you've solved a lot of problems already. Okay? Now we can begin to idealize him a little bit, and it's gonna work better than if he had not done these things. Do you understand what I mean? Let's keep going.
That's one aspect of the honeymoon phase, is idealization. Another aspect, I think, is passion. This is when you want to spend all your time with them, you feel a strong physical connection to them, you get butterflies around them, you get intense emotions because of them. It could be jealousy, infatuation, anger, happiness. You can, and absolutely should, try to keep passion in your relationship past the honeymoon phase. Without passion, the relationship turns into more of a friendship. And I've talked about this before, but that does tend to happen with long-term relationships.
That happens all the time. It's not just tends to happen. If they even stick together, they will become lesbian friends. Okay, that's just monogamy in itself. Okay? You'll have a man, you'll have a woman, and in the beginning, they have polarity. We're going to talk more about that eventually. But in the beginning, they have it. He's masculine, she's feminine, preferably. Maybe it's the other way around, but then it's not going to work, very well either from the passion perspective. In terms of passion, the woman will want the man to be masculine and for her to be feminine. The more time they spend together, the less polarity there is. The less polarity, the less passion. Simple. You don't have to complicate this, okay? It is so observable. You just look around. If you see that there's a lack of polarity between those two in a relationship, you can know for a fact that there's no passion in that relationship, none whatsoever. The further away the polarity is, the more passion there is if they still connect, okay? And that's all there needs to be, really. But she has some good points, though, when it comes to passion.
Once you spend a lot of time together, you know each other really well, you get comfortable. If the passion disintegrates, you become more like friends than anything else. And yeah, commitment might increase, so you might still feel bonded with them. But if passion decreases, that puts a relationship at risk of wandering eyes and dissatisfaction. Another aspect.
And that's a problem, okay? The fact that you don't have passion for your man anymore, you lack desire for your man, it's a huge, humongous problem, okay? Like, this is one of the biggest problems on planet Earth, believe it or not. Because if, obsession equals loyalty. If you're not passionate about your partner, what's going to happen? Like she says, wandering eyes, dissatisfaction, yelling, nagging, okay? What do you think happens to your kids when they see the mother, okay, their mother, not loving their father? And then the father is upset because he's being blamed, and then he's blaming back, and then they're beginning fighting, blah, blah, blah. And then half of the time or more, they separate, okay? Even those that stick together emotionally separate. They remain friends because that's the easiest thing to do because they don't have anyone else, and they want to stick together because of the children's sake. But oh my gosh, come on, man. Like, can't we just have some passion? Can't we have some obsession for each other? Like, it's crucial. And people are like, they give up. They settle. They're like, I guess that was it. I had it when I was in my teenage years and in my 20s. But now when I'm 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, I cannot feel passion for my partner. But we're best friends. We love each other so much and have pink suits together. Oh my gosh. No. Polarity. Passion. Okay? We're going to talk about how to make that happen. Let's keep going. All right, you're doing great.
Of the honeymoon phase is no arguments. In my experience, honeymoon phase usually ends right around the point when you have your first fight. So if you're fighting very early in the stages of your relationship or before you even got together, that's kind of a red flag, because relationships that aren't good in the very beginning hardly ever last long or last happily. And we've spoken about this before, how definitions of arguments vary from person to person based on culture, upbringing, the dynamics of their relationship. As you may already know, my definition is, verbal or physical aggression, yelling, not listening to each other, stonewalling, and so on. But it may be even healthier to have a lower threshold for what you consider fighting. Is it, the person speaking over you, taking small jabs, lack of empathy, and so on. This is an unpopular opinion, but I think that you can absolutely ensure that you have very few arguments in a relationship.
Boom. I completely agree with her on this. Absolutely. Me and my wife have no fighting whatsoever. If she gets upset with me, I let her get upset with me. But I never respond. Like, I never respond in terms of blaming her, okay? Like, I never yell back. I seek to understand first. I let her get it out of her system. I let her vent, okay? And then I receive it. And then if it's important, we'll talk about it. If it's not important, I'll be like, give her a hug. And then I throw all of the crap she gave to me out in the garbage, unless it's something that I personally need to improve upon. Do you understand what I mean? So in that sense, there's never any arguing between us whatsoever. So when she says it's an unpopular opinion, it's ridiculous. Why would a couple ever fight? You guys love each other. What the heck is up with that? Right? So it's kind of like you have to choose. If you're gonna have passion in a relationship, some people say that, well, then you gotta fight, because that's what keeps the fire alive. oh my gosh, like how draining is this? Like you have your energy and then it becomes drained when you fight a lot, right? And you have to think about the arguments, you have to think about what he said, and you have to think about what you're going to say back and blah, 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 blah. And then you make up, but you're still drained, you're still tired, and like, oh my gosh, like, can we fight less, please? Do you understand what I mean? Like, so how do you make the, but I love how she says that that's the moment the honeymoon phase is over, is if you guys start fighting. And very, very well put.
And the notion that all couples fight is ridiculous to me. My partner and I, we don't fight, and it's not reasonable to expect that of other types of relationships. You know, like, oh, all teachers and students fight, all uncles and nephews fight. No, that's not an accurate generalization. It may be very common, but we should not simply accept it because it's common. We should be working to prevent it. Do you want to be like everybody with an average relationship, or do you want to have a great relationship? So, okay, we talked about the components of...
Love that. Good is the enemy of great. And if there's something that says in, you know, in the one of the bedrooms in this house, it says that love is one of those things in life that should not be mediocre. Okay? Like, a lot of things in life are mediocre, but love should not be one of them. That's basically what it says. And I agree with that. But no one knows how to keep this love alive. Except for us on this channel, okay? Now, obviously, it does sound a bit arrogant. Yes, it is boasting somewhat. But I just want you guys to understand that you guys are welcome on this channel. And I do believe sincerely that there are some things that you're going to pick up from this channel that you're just going to be blown away from. Okay, this is just my experience with the people that have watched this channel. Tons of people disagree with me, of course. But that's what happens when you've got amazing principles, and then when you observe around you what happens in relationships, and then you're just like, oh man, dang, that Joseph guy was right. And I'm like, yeah, like we've checked this out. We've researched for many years, okay? Like, there's a lot of hours behind all these videos. But, you know, let's just keep going.
Honeymoon phase, idealization, passion, and no fighting. How do you stay in the honeymoon phase for as long as possible, or incorporate aspects of the honeymoon phase throughout your relationship? So first, let's start with passion. How do you foster passion? I think some distance. My partner and I were in a long-distance relationship for about 9 out of the 11 months that we were together before he moved to Chicago and we moved in together. And some people did ask us, oh, like, aren't you worried about that since you were away for so long? And I think when you know, you know. And you always instinctively know, even if sometimes you overlook or deny knowing whether someone is right for you. And I think that it helped us maintain that honeymoon phase for a very long time, being away from each other. Because the expression, distance does make the heart grow fonder, is true. When you're always grasping at someone and they're always just out of reach, it does rile up your passion for them. And that could be because of physical distance, because of circumstance, and it could also be because someone is playing you and manipulating you and always trying to play hard to get. If a couple is 24/7 together for the first few months of the relationship, they might think they're making the most of their honeymoon phase, but in reality, they're probably ending it prematurely. And I imagine a lot of couples ended the honeymoon phase early because of the quarantine, because they're spending much more time together and they're always in the same four walls. But it's important to remember that you can always place a little bit of distance between you and your partner.
Okay, this is absolutely amazing, spot on. Very few people manage to do the long-term relationship thing, but it is definitely a relationship enhancer for loyal people. Okay? Long-distance relationships in the beginning of the relationship is a relationship enhancer if they're loyal people. Now, if they're not loyal, yeah, they're going to struggle. And they're probably going to be together, but not together, if you know what I mean. That's kind of... So, in their sense, like their story, it worked perfectly. Great. Awesome. Okay? But once you're in a relationship, though, they, past the 11 months, once he came to Chicago, what, are you going to do that again in the future? Are you planning to stay away from each other 9 out of 11 months again? Once you're married, once she's pregnant, once, you have 4 kids together, or 3, hopefully it's not 4, but I'm just saying, like, that's not sustainable. Even though you say that you can have distance from each other, why would you want to have constant distance from each other if you love each other? Like, if you think about life is so short, like if you're lucky, you get 96 years, that's 3 billion seconds. And you're going to spend a lot of your time away from the other person, obviously. But wouldn't you want to at least see them once a day? Or at least every other day? Or at least, like, you know, several times a week? Like, you don't want them to be gone for 9 months out of a year every year. That's ridiculous. You can't do that. So it's a good aspect of what she's mentioning. And yes, distance makes the heart grow fonder, or, you know, absence. But it's not something that everyone can apply on a consistent basis that way, if that makes sense. I'm going to go into the solutions afterwards.
It doesn't have to be, you know, running to the other side of the world. It could be keeping yourself busy with hobbies, not canceling alone days or girls' nights, going home to see your family, all this different stuff. Even when you are quarantining together, it is possible to have separate things that you do where you're not always focused on each other. And the reunion after a long day of not seeing each other is so much more excited, warm, passionate than the reunion after a day that you spent together. I think a lot of people would agree.
Absolutely. She's completely on point, but she's missing something incredibly important. I'll get to that.
Another tip for growing passion: don't get lazy. Always be trying to still woo or court or impress your partner. Breakups are never not a possibility, so it's important to not take it for granted that your partner is always going to be with you.
Okay, I gotta stop you there, because that's probably the sentence that I disagree with the most in this video. And that is, breakups still do happen, and you should not take it for granted. Oh my gosh. No, that's not acceptable for me. If you have loyalty as a man, okay, and this completely depends on the man, by the way. The woman, she's naturally going to be loyal if the man applies the principles on this channel. The woman is naturally going to be loyal, not forced, not anything of that nature. She's going to be loyal no matter what if the man does what he's supposed to do, as we teach on this channel. Which means that it's actually only his loyalty that is crucial. Okay? Like, he doesn't, trust me, there's no manipulation, there's no, all of that crap, no, don't worry about it. The fact is, if he just simply does the things that are on this channel in terms of taking the blame, that's actually the only thing that he needs to do, actually. If he takes the blame and is the highest value man that is around you, that's it. He doesn't need anything else than that, and you'll be loyal to him long term. That it's not acceptable that you believe as a woman that this relationship could end. Yeah, it's possible that it could not last. And so I need to make myself nice, and I need to impress him, and I need to woo him and all that stuff. No. A woman should always know 100% that this man is gonna stick for life. It is unacceptable to believe, for a man to instigate that belief in a woman at all, ever. Security is one of the most important emotional needs that women have, and that should not be messed up with from a core basis of being left behind. Not acceptable. So I completely disagree with that sentence. But she's right in terms of, you know, you want to woo him, but I gotta say something here. If you're obsessed with your man, is it work to prepare yourself and make yourself beautiful for him and be feminine and do those things that your man would like? It's not work. Women love to make themselves beautiful. Women love to prepare themselves with nice dresses and hairstyles and to brush their hair and to make themselves beautiful if they have capacity and the money to do so. Right? Like, it's not work. It's, yes, of course, beauty hurts and it takes a lot of work and all that stuff, and I'm not taking that for granted. I'm just saying that if you're fired up outside your brain about your man, it's easy to do the work that's necessary to impress him. Does that make sense? So in that sense, you never have to worry about that. And if the man applies the principles on this channel, he'll be fired up outside his brain to improve himself as well. No worries.
Have to kind of maintain a little bit of that fear that they can always leave you, because the second you get complacent, it becomes a possibility. So how do you do this? You can continue to initiate dates, even in the quarantine. There are ways to have romantic date nights. You can look good for them even if you've just quarantined together. Don't get lazy with hygiene or being well kempt simply because you're comfortable enough around them and you don't have anywhere else to go. Wear cologne or perfume. Don't stay in pajamas all day. Don't postpone brushing your teeth. Keep showering every day. Keep your home tidy as if you're still trying to impress someone coming over. These are pretty basic things. It's kind of
These are basic things, but oh my gosh, like if you're demotivated, if you're not in love, and you're depressed, like how excited are you about doing all those things? And then all of the problems in the world happen. You've got problems with your boss, even though he's remote, whatever it is. And you got problems with your family, you got problems with your period, and problems with that and this and that and the other. And then on top of that, as a woman, you have to discipline yourself to do something like this for your man. Who cares about him? He obviously doesn't care about me because he doesn't solve my problems, or he doesn't help me to solve my problems, or just the fact that I still have problems is an issue, okay, that he should have found a way to solve. Like, do you understand how this works? A woman who has issues won't want to do it, and then it becomes hard work and discipline. And hard work and discipline makes a woman more masculine, right? Polarity, remember what I said in the beginning of this video? The man becomes more feminine the more he spends time around her, right? And she becomes more masculine the more she has to discipline herself and do hard work and think rationally and blah, 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 blah. If you understand that aspect. Okay, let's keep going.
I'm sad that I even have to say them. Also, don't stop being chivalrous or courteous. Hold the doors open for them, say please and thank you, compliment them, and so on.
Okay, she's talking obviously both to girls and boys here. I'm talking only for girls, pretty much. But just so you guys understand that, yes, there are two different people, and some people say that it takes two people to tango, and I'm like, not really. Like, really, it only takes the man providing an amazing, beautiful environment. If he is a man of high value, he's going to do that for you. He'll understand female nature. He'll understand hypergamy. He'll understand what you need at any given time. And he's going to make sure that that environment is set in place in a way that actually works without him being present. Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm going to explain to you in this video, is that there's a system. There's a system in place that he can provide for and make available for a woman so that he can leave and be gone 60 to 70 to maybe even 80 hours a week. And that is going to make you fired up outside your brain because you've got the environment and he's not even needed. Oh my gosh. How does that work? Give me the system, Joseph. I will, don't worry. But seriously, once you have that system in place, and then life is just easy if you have the money, because he's making a lot of money, obviously, because he's gone all the time making money. And then you have money and you have time because you don't have to work outside of home, and maybe you even have some friends. Let's keep going.
Another way to rile up the passion, random acts and words of affection and appreciation. For example, get them flowers when you're at the supermarket, or say I love you and take your hand where we're just working together next to each other.
Okay, I gotta stop you there. No. I'll tell you right now, the moment a guy begins to buy you flowers and begins to give you gifts and begins to do small acts of kindness and appreciation, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you as a woman might say, but I love that. No, you don't. Not if he is low value. And the majority of men in all long-term relationships suck and are low value, and that's why you don't enjoy it. You don't prefer it. You actually would be better off if he didn't give you squat. I'm serious. The only times you like it when a guy gives you flowers or gives you chocolate or gives you gifts and blah, blah, blah is only if he's high value. If he is not high value, you basically are like, oh yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, thanks. Okay. And then you basically eat the chocolate, or because you're depressed because there's a low value guy that he wants you and you just don't really feel it for him. Okay? Look back. at all of those times when the low value guy has been interested in you, and you're just like, oh man, he has to do that again. Oh man, now I feel obligated to do this and that and the other. I understand how you guys think, okay? So when Anna explains this, I'm like, oh my gosh, no, okay? As a woman though, if you as a woman begin to do acts of kindness for your man, that's a completely different case. You guys are different, we're different. The cool part is that we men, we don't very often don't like gifts. If you want to do something for us, you know exactly what it is that you need to do. Okay? If you're in a long-term committed relationship for life, okay? That's I gotta mention that. Let's keep going.
Also try to switch things up at least once a day. For example, if you usually go watch TV right after dinner, so just a board game one time. And also, don't stop making them laugh. I never realized how much my partner makes me laugh until I had a sore in my mouth and I couldn't laugh because of the horrible pain. And I was just in pain all the time because he was always making me laugh. Laughter is medicine. Be the person that gives your partner that joy, that laughter. You don't want someone else to be that person.
Okay, yeah, quick ad here. Let's get through it.
Nova is a full gym in your hands that enables you to work out where you are right now and enjoy.
How about preventing arguments?
So basically just quickly going through what she just said about routines. I completely agree. Things should never fall into a rut. You guys should always do different things. Only problem with this though is that it takes massive amounts of planning and work, okay? Like when you're tired after a day's work and you guys both work, which I do not ever recommend, you as a woman, preferably if you could just live luxuriously and not have to work, man, that would be amazing, right? So the man should be out making tons of dough, tons of money, so that you can enjoy your life, okay? And if that's possible, it makes it easier to plan things like this that she talks about. For the man, not so much. If you expect the man to be planning stuff and lead, right? You want him to be a leader, right? That's what most women want. They want a man who's a leader, which means that the woman very often wants him to lead in planning activities and planning this and planning that and planning, why do you never do anything for me? And he's freaking building an empire 80 hours a week. Like, how is he gonna, like, the man doesn't have time for the small itty-bitty stuff, things that count. He's got more important things to do, and that's the principle that I teach on this channel. You know, women are femininity is like this is small things that count, and masculinity I got more important things to do. Oh, I'm not important enough for you? Seriously? Like, you're massively important for me, but that's why I need to create these luxuries. But I don't want the luxuries, I just want you, honey. No. That's not how the world works, because the moment I go broke, you're out of here. Or you are at least extremely depressed from having lost the lifestyle we just had, and then I don't have it anymore. And yet you want my time and you want my money, and we can't have both. Or can we? This channel allows you to have both.
You make sure that there are no arguments. If things are getting heated, lower your voice. You know, physically lower your voice because you don't realize that your voice is getting louder and louder. Sugarcoat things. If you feel like you can and want to tell your partner the most blunt thing, rethink that. Because we think that we can get away with being a little more rude with people that we take for granted, that we think are not going to leave us. But ask yourself, would I speak this way to my boss? Would I speak this way to a person at the supermarket?
Okay, I gotta stop you here for a second, because femininity, is it being in your head or being in your body? Femininity, is it being in your head or being in your body? You know the answer. Being in your body is feminine. She's literally telling you right now to be a man. Be masculine, okay? This is the only way your relationship is going to work, because you're going to fight if you don't. So you need to learn how to sugarcoat things. You need to learn how to this and that, and think about it. Make sure you don't, da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is too much for women to think about. No, you should be venting. You should be getting everything out of your system. Now, obviously, if you are unburdened, which is, by the way, the definition of femininity, okay? If you're unburdened, you'll actually have capacity, massive amounts of capacity in order for you to discipline yourself in these small things. Okay, but if everything sucks in your life and you are massively burdened and you're basically up to here with issues and he's the one who caused it, you're not going to sugarcoat things. And no matter even how much you think that you're going to discipline yourself, you're not going to be able to do that consistently. Why? Because of your cycle, right? The 28-day cycle, you know how often it happens? Every single month, okay? Which means that you'll never be consistent with what she's asking you to do right here. Easy to say, impossible to do for you as a woman. And if you do it, it has other adverse effects that you don't even know about. The consequences that will come from you disciplining yourself too much will come out in terms of bad health, and it would also maybe even come out in terms of accidents, or basically just things attracting to you because you're keeping things bottled up inside because you're disciplined and masculine. No, women should express how they feel, get it out of their system, and the man should receive it. Okay? That's his responsibility. And it's the only way for things to happen, for things to work long term. And eventually, if he provides the correct system, then it'll actually work. All of the time, every day, for the rest of your life. Wouldn't that be amazing?
If not, reconsider, reframe it, sugarcoat it, say it nicer. Because if you take this person for granted, it's going to show. Also use a lot of I statements. I've talked about I statements all the time on this channel. Instead of saying, you always do this or you piss me off, say, I feel this way because of this thing that happened. Say, I need this from you, I need that from you. So I statements, very helpful.
She's right about this one though. Like it's extremely efficient and effective if you remember and you're not up to your max, okay, in terms of problems and issues, and you're able to do it in the heat of the moment. Okay, probably not, but if you in the future are unburdened and have the capacity to, I statements more so than you is way better, like I feel, instead of, oh, you do this and you do that. But as a man, he knows, and he shouldn't care whether that's an I statement or a you did it statement. Who cares? Like, yes, I know, I suck, okay? But I'm improving, and I'm fired up about it, so keep yelling at me. I don't mind. It's okay, we'll figure it out, right?
Physical touch to remind them that you care about them. It's crucial if things are getting heated, just put a hand on them in a non-violent way, of course. Just remind them that you care about them through that affection. It gets all sorts of hormones going in their brain when they're reminded that you love them, and validate their point of view.
This doesn't work from a woman perspective of, oh, in a heated moment to give them physical touch. Well, maybe it does, but I just don't experience it much. Because I'm like, as a man, I should be the one who has peace. Like, anger is feminine. Okay? So, as a man, I should have peace. So it doesn't make any sense that she would, nicely, oh, it's okay, we're not going to fight, blah, blah, blah. Me, however, yes, I need to hug. I need to give her physical affection if she's struggling or if she's, upset with me or something that I've done wrong. And I have to tell you guys, that my wife is absolutely amazing, okay? She blows my mind when it comes to people skills and relationship skills, and this is one of the reasons why we have an amazing relationship. However, we've also come to the point of realization that we want her to vent and get all of the crap out as soon as possible. As soon as it even enters her system, we want to get it out. We don't want her to keep and bottle things up because that creates more resentment over time. Not necessary.
You understand the perspective. Say, yeah, I completely understand. You're working really hard and I've been slacking with the dishes. So we talked about how to keep no arguments in your relationship, how to keep that passion. What about maintaining a little bit of that idealization? And we talked about in the intro how idealization, that's kind of the one that isn't really necessary to incorporate throughout your relationship past.
It is massively necessary, but people don't believe it's possible, and people settle instead of figuring it out. They didn't ask why. They didn't ask how. They didn't go deep, okay? But it's important that we do. The civilization of humanity depends upon it, actually, because if families don't work, society is going to crumble. So we better fix this idealization thing. Yeah, it's pretty important.
Honeymoon phase. But we should keep a little bit of it. So you can do this by boasting about your partner and their accomplishments and their positive qualities to others, also to them, always saying, you're so pretty, you work so hard, you're so good at what you do, and so on. Always keep a running list of green flags. You know, if you've been here on my channel before, you know I recommend kind of keeping a running list of red flags. You know, what is this person doing that doesn't sit right with you? But I think it's equally important, if you want to maintain this relationship, to also keep a list of the green flags. To say, what do I love about this person? What are they wonderful at? Because if you look at that list, or you run through the list in your head and you realize how great they are, you're much more likely to idealize them. Also,
Body or head? Where do you want to be? Choose. Okay, now obviously you're supposed to use both, yeah, of course, but we have a big problem these days of women being too much in their heads. If you've ever been inside your bedroom and you've ever tried to have sex with your partner, and I hope you haven't if you haven't found your man yet, but if you have been in a relationship where sex happened, isn't it extremely annoying to be in your head? Like, isn't that one of the habits you wish that, oh my gosh, I wish I was in my body a bit more than I was in my head? Yeah, exactly. We need to reverse those roles, okay? Because right now, these days, basically men are in their bodies 80%, and then women are in their heads 80%. Let's reverse that one, please, so men can be inside their heads and figure something out and provide solutions and you know, make things happen, while women should be inside their body and enjoy their body and dance and laugh and sing and feel, right? That's what they're supposed to do. However, okay, let's keep going.
Verbally point out all the wonderful things that they do. Don't stop saying please and thank you. Every now and then, when you look over at them, especially now when you're quarantined together, just look over and think about how great they are, how cute they are. Tell them, you know, say something nice to them, take their hand, and what.
Okay, I just have to mention this. How, just in 12 minutes, how many things has she just told you that it is that you would do naturally if you felt like it? Like, for example, boasting about your partner. She mentioned something about that. If you freakishly was in love with your man and you were obsessed about him, would you not? Like, you wouldn't be able to hold still. You'd be like, oh, I gotta tell you about what my man did. Like, do you understand what I mean? Like, that's not something you have to discipline yourself to do. Like, if you're fired up outside your brain about your man and he comes home, is it a discipline to go to the door and say, like, hi, honey, welcome home? Like, no, it's not a discipline. You'd be fired up outside your brain if you were obsessed about him. Like, do you understand what I mean? All of the things that she just said throughout this video basically is telling you to be a man, because you're not being a man enough for this relationship. You, woman, you're not being a man enough. You need to be more of a man, and then your relationship is going to work out better. No. That's not how it functions. Remember, polarity. If women become more like men and men become more like women and they start to do the lovey-dovey stuff that women want from a man of high value, not from a low value man, right? Then polarity is gone and then the relationship gets messed up. Like, we gotta see what's happening here. If everything is amazing in a relationship and you're obsessed with your man, which I'm going to tell you how to do now at the end here, everything works seamlessly. It just flows and you're actually in love. Don't you remember when you were in love, it just happened to you and you're just overcome by it? Like, in the sense, like, I just feel all these emotions. I can't control how happy I am. Like, the butterflies are amazing. Like, the moment you start thinking, all of the emotions disappear. They're gone. That's what it means to be masculine for you guys. Okay? It's boring. It sucks. And that's what most women experience in their relationships. It's not good. And there is a solution. Okay? So I'm just helping you guys to understand that she's literally given you approximately 76 different types of advice that you need to remember to do for your partner and for yourself, and keep a list of this and keep a list of that, and telling you to be in your brain. Now, maybe I do that sometimes too by telling you guys too many things, right? Too much information. Sometimes ignorance is bliss and you should just receive if the man knows what he's doing. The whole problem here, those 80% of the game is finding and securing that man of high value, and then the rest of the 20%, basically the rest of your life, those 60, 70 years that you're going to be with your partner, everything just kind of works with the system. Like it's just as long as he does his part and the environment is there, man, you're going to be in love for the rest of your life. Joseph, tell me what the system is. I'm going to tell you. Let her speak first, though. Women first.
About in order for them to idealize you. Don't stop working on self-improvement. Don't stop growing. Don't stop changing. Don't stop taking care of yourself, both physically, mentally, emotionally, in the relationship. Don't stop working at it. This goes along with the fostering passion about don't get lazy, don't get complacent in your relationship. But here's the issue. One person can do all the work in the world trying to keep this relationship in the honeymoon phase, but it means nothing if the other person doesn't also put in the work. If your partner is committed to keeping your relationship as happy and fresh as you are, then go right ahead, send them this video, tell them what to do. But if they don't care enough to even watch the video or to hear why it might be important to incorporate the honeymoon phase into your relationship, if they're offended by the idea that they have to put work in the relationship, if they want to get lazy instead of keeping you happy, you deserve better. You can play a little hard to get, you can capitalize on the distance to get them to long for you more, but ideally you shouldn't need to do that for your partner to feel passion for you. Like, my partner and I, we don't play games. We do spend 24/7 together, and we still keep the passion alive. You know, you shouldn't have to resort to convincing the other person why they should work on your relationship. But besides, you know, playing a little hard to get, putting a little bit distance between yourselves, you cannot force someone to behave a certain way. You cannot force them to value you and your relationship. You either have to accept things as they are or move on if they're not willing to work on this relationship with you. Because I imagine a lot of those of you watching this are probably people who maybe are struggling with their relationship and want to make sure that it gets better. And, you know, I just want to say, it takes two to tango. You can't be putting in 100% of the work. So I do hope this video was helpful, and I do hope that you are all part of the category of people where both parties, or whatever, however many parties there are trying to put in 100% of the effort. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe.
Okay, awesome. She did a great job. Thank you so much, Anna. Go and subscribe to her channel. She probably has a lot of great nuggets for you. But I have to tell you, no, it doesn't take two to tango. If the environment is seductive to you being in love, then everything works. Okay? And that's the only thing you need to know. If everything works, right? Then it only takes one person to tango because he's created the amazing dance of tango for you, right? On the dance floor, who's the leader in tango? Is it the woman? No, it's not, okay? Does it take two to tango? No. If the man knows what he's doing. Now, obviously, the woman has to play along and all that stuff, but you as a woman, no matter who you are, if the man knows what he's doing on the dance floor, you're going to feel absolutely fantastic, okay? Like, do you get my analogy there? So, okay, so what is the system? What is the solution? Well, I just want to tell you guys, already been a very long video already, but this one is important. This one is crucial. I'll tell you 3 principles that will allow you to have passion, to have all those things that she mentioned in the video, but have it forever, okay? And there's 3 things that basically wasn't explained in the video, interestingly enough. Well, somewhere. Okay, let's go through it. Polarity. I explained about that, right? But let's look at it from a power perspective, okay? Because we know women are attracted to power, or in other words, confidence. But a man doesn't have confidence. He doesn't have power if he doesn't have confidence, right? So it's really power that women are after from a man's perspective. Like, they'll fall in love if the man has power and there's a connection, okay? Which means that it's important that one of them are the leader in the relationship. And if you're a feminine woman, you'll know exactly who you want to have to be the leader. Okay, you want your man to be the leader, right? So that means that you want him to have the power. Crucial to remember this, because if there's a power struggle in the relationship, you're not in love. And the in-love phase is gone, okay? There should never be a power struggle in a relationship. If everyone knows their role, It makes a huge difference. And what does it mean? Like struggle. The opposite word is like it's peace, right? You want there to be power, peace, not power, struggle. And the power piece comes from the man having the power in the relationship, and then you're like, and me taking the back seat? No. Let me explain in a second. I just need you to understand where I'm going with this, of saying that yes, the man should have power, but you're not powerless in the relationship. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Second of all, though, is that you need to be more available or have more capacity than he does. If you have less capacity than him, that's a problem. Okay? If he's more available for you, if he's more this and that and the other, no. You want a man that is very scarce and gone and hard to get in many ways. Okay? Not too much, right? But then there's a balance again, right? Oh, it's so difficult. But I'm going to talk about that in a second too. But the fact is, if you're more available than he is, that means that you're a little bit more needy or desirous of him than he is in you. Okay? That's basically the third thing I was going to say here, which is basically you being more in love than he is. Yes, there are people who says that, oh, it's important that you find a man or marry a man who likes you and is more in love with you than you are in him. Oh my gosh. Like, how is that going to work out? No, the most crucial aspect is for the woman to be in love as long as the man is loyal and has committed to her for life. That is, like, we just have to take that as a given. But it's not a given, and that's why this channel is designed for exactly that. Finding a man for you that has a track record of loyalty and trustworthiness so that you can be secure knowing that he's never, ever going to leave you. You guys are going to make it work together for a lifetime, okay? So, having said that, what's the system? Those that are subscribed to this channel will know that sometimes I say monogamy sucks, okay? I'm not for polyamory either, for sure, and we'll make a video about that in the future, of how both these are basically inefficient and ineffective in making sure that the in-love honeymoon phase sticks around forever. What is needed? Well, we needed more power. Remember, the man must have more power in the relationship. How much more power? Well, preferably, if he's going to treat you right, if he's going to protect your emotions, if he's going to give you everything that you need in order for you to be emotionally fulfilled, and of course everything else fulfilled, then he should have as much power as possible, but never too much, how do I say this? So much power possible, but he shouldn't have too much responsibilities that he cannot give you the provision that you need in terms of availability and him being there for you emotionally, etc., etc., etc. Okay? But we want him to have as much power as possible. If he's trustworthy and loyal, guess what? There's nothing wrong with sharing your man with your best friends and you living in harmony in that relationship with those other women and the man providing and protecting all of you. 3. 1 man, 3 women. Not 1 woman. That's not going to work because there's going to be a power struggle. Why? Because the woman has more power in the relationship by default. 1, because she desires sex less than him. She needs it more than him, but she desires sex less than him. And number 2, she has more intense emotions than he does, which means that he's going to want more peace than she does. Meaning, if there's something that is incredibly important to her, and everything's pretty important because it's the small things that count, then he's going to always want to keep the peace, keep the peace, keep the peace, keep the peace. Guess who has the power in the relationship? It's the woman. 99.9% of the time, unless the man's abusive. Okay? The woman basically has the power in the relationship in monogamy. So I'm not saying that monogamy sucks. I'm just saying that it's inferior to whatever system gives or produces the possibility of the man having more power in the relationship. In the beginning of the in-love phase, when a woman and a man is in love with each other, they're not thinking about the power struggle that's going to come later. Because the woman's in love, and there's obstacles in between her and her mate because her father is basically causing problems, and school is in the way, and then work is in the way, and then, you know, they just want to get back together. Like, do you understand? Like, that's how in love works in the beginning, but then eventually, you know, the man is like, you guys begin to spend every single waking day together other than the other obstacles that are pulling you guys apart. You basically become girlfriends, and then that's when the polarity disappears, and then the relationship sucks after that, and there's no passion anymore. But you're at least your friends. That's not enough for women. Women want to have passion, and they want commitment, okay? Both. They want friends. But how about you have two girlfriends who's with you pretty much all of the time, or as much as you want throughout the day, for the rest of your life? Wouldn't that be amazing? We saw the power aspect. Yes, a man gets basically, there's inequality in the relationship when a man has basically 3 women, right? But as long as he takes the blame for everything that goes wrong in the relationship and for every single emotion that these women feel, he takes the blame for it. He receives it, they vent, and then he takes out the trash, but then he improves on the things that he can improve on. Do you understand what I mean? Just basically what I explained in the beginning of the video. If he does that, then he's got the power, but he's using his power responsibly. This is where the trustworthiness and the loyalty and the stamp of approval comes into play. Stamp of approval, if you don't know what it is, watch my other videos where I explain it thoroughly. I should probably create one, though, where it says, what does the stamp of approval mean? But I just want you guys to understand that if he is responsible, loyal, and trustworthy, and those men do exist, they just need to be trained on female nature, then you can give him that power. Give it to him. And you'll be amazed how in love you'll be for the rest of your life. Does this help the infatuation stage? Yes. Does this help the idealization of your partner? Yes. If he has so much power and yet he continues to come down and meet you guys where you're at so you guys can connect because he's gone all the time. This is part 2, right? Which is basically that you're more available than he is. He's not needy. And he's busy. He's gone the majority of the day. And then he comes home. And guess what? All 3 girls are fired up outside their brain because they've enjoyed themselves all day. Their cups are full. They're happy. They're bubbly. And then he comes home and they're like, it was like the icing on the cake. We just waited for him to come home. And now he's home. Oh, like excited. And then basically you guys have just, you know, prepared yourself maybe a little bit. Maybe you made some nice dinner for him and you've got this and that arranged and created a beautiful environment for him to enjoy himself when he comes home. Like, do you see how much better your life would be if he was able to spend his time massively accumulating resources so that you guys could enjoy your life in luxury and take care of each other and not even have to worry about the money? Man, this is an amazing system. If you have to rewatch this video with what I'm saying in mind, literally, go back to the very beginning of the video after you finish it and listen to it again with new eyes, okay? Because this is insane. This is awesome. Now you've solved the power struggle issue, okay? There's no struggle. He has the power, but he uses it responsibly. Awesome. He takes the blame. Fantastic, okay? Second of all, he's not available. He's a scarce resource. Scarcity means that there's low supply and high demand. Right? High demand. Why? Because there's 3. If there was only you and you're just like, there's no other woman that likes my man. Yeah, that kind of sucks. I don't like him either. Okay, but if there's 3, I can promise you on a daily basis, one of the women or 2 are going to speak about your man if you don't. If you're probably going to speak about him too. When you speak about someone, that is attention. That means edification. And if you're edifying someone, you're building them up. What happens when you build someone up? He gets more power. And if he gets more power, that means more attraction. More attraction, more feelings, more intense emotions, more desire. Okay? All of those things that women want to feel. Not be in your head. What comes naturally. It happens naturally. Okay, and the last one, basically, more in love than he is. You don't want your man to collapse in love with you for the rest of your life. Unless he knows how to restrain himself. Okay, let me explain what I mean. If the man, okay, especially in monogamy, this is how it works. Then they fall in love, and then what usually causes them to not be in love anymore is her cycle happens, right? Her cycle happens in the first couple of cycles, then she basically she overlooked his flaws, but then the third time, 3-month syndrome, anyone? Very often what happens is that he screws over the same freaking mistakes that he did the last 2 times, and he's a jerk, and he's this and that and the other, and then suddenly the in-love relationship is over, right? There's no more infatuation. Guess what happens? This was not supposed to happen, okay? We want the idealization. Where was I basically talking about? Anyway, we want you to be more in love with him than he is in you. Not much, okay? He's going to love you guys. He's going to love you guys intensely, okay? Because, man, his lifestyle is freaking amazing. But he is able to also restrain himself if he feels that your guys' love is declining. Then he can basically be absent a little bit more, be a bit more scarce, do a little bit more things that creates positive power, and then create edification in the relationship again so that they fall in love again. Does that make sense? Like there's things that the man can do that's not manipulation. It's just you working science, okay? And sometimes women like to have things happen to them. So basically it's just leadership. That's what it is. Anyway, I hope you guys got tons of value out of this video. I'm fired up outside my brain because I love these principles. I love the things I share on this channel. If you do too, make sure you subscribe, you like, and I'll see you in the next